Season's greetings, my lovely foodies. I have been testing out some things for this Christmas, and of course, I've made a new sorrel puree blend, and I'm going to be sharing that with you today.
Can't cook. Ticket you pay your pretty look. You want to live a restaurant and come done man bank book. Cook, recipe book.
Alright, so to start with the new blend of sorrel puree, you're going to need a half pound of sorrel, and this is first sorrel. I literally got this sorrel yesterday, but I washed it and I added it to my freezer, and now I'm just going to chop it up nicely. Don't worry if you don't have fresh sorrel. I'm going to let you know how you can use the dried sorrel, and I'll link the dried sorrel in the description box so you can go ahead and order your dried sorrel if you don't have. I have you well sorted for this video. You're going to need to get your sorrel finely chopped. I'll be using my food processor to do this. If you don't have a food processor, don't worry. You can always use a blender, but you'll have to add a little water in your blender. Or if you'll be using the dried sorrel, then you can skip this step really. So I'm just adding these to the processor. I'll be adding as much as I can because this is kind of high powered a bit. So I'm just going to chop these up finely, as I said, or just rough chop it basically. And this is looking so rich right now. I really love the color that it has, and this texture is fine. You don't need it finer than this, at least right now, right? So I'm just going to do this in 2 batches. So that's 1. I'll just go in with the rest and I'll just finish chopping these up. So guys, I started making sorrel cake from last year, and ever since that I've just tried to find new methods of making the puree, and I really love this method. I think this method brings out more flavor in the cake. The other method is also fine. It gives you such a wonderful cake, yummy, really delicious cake. But I think this method kind of brings out more flavor in the cake, and I'm sharing this method with you guys. So after chopping everything, this is what it looks like. Looks like a lot, roughly chopped, and that's good. So again, if you're using the dried sorrel, then you'd skip this step, okay? I'm using the first sorrel, so I have to chop it for this step. Now in this spot, if you're wondering why is there something in my pot, I just removed some stewed fruits from my pot. The link for the stewed fruits will be in the description box so you can know how to stew your fruits for your Christmas cake to get it packed with way more flavors, right? So I'm just using this pot because there's a little liquid left in it, so that will be perfect for this. Alright, so add this all in your pot. And guys, this is sorrel. Use the sorrel puree to make sorrel fruit cake. It's not just sauce of sorrel. No, it's sorrel fruit cake. So here I'll be adding 2.5 cups of the stewed fruits to my chopped sorrel. And even though I'm adding the stewed fruits right now, everything will just still be the sorrel puree at this. After this is completed, this will still be the sorrel puree. This still won't count for the fruits that you'll actually add to the sorrel cake. If you haven't seen my sorrel cake video, go ahead and check that out and you'll understand what I'm talking about. So I'll be flavoring this. So this is a tablespoon of rose water, rose flavoring. Next, I'm going in with a tablespoon of vanilla extract. Then I'm going in with a half tablespoon of cinnamon powder, nutmeg, freshly grated nutmeg that is, and a 1/4 teaspoon of ground allspice as well. Next, I'm going in with a half cup of brown sugar. Sorrel is very tangy, so this will help to reduce the tanginess. Next guys, I'm going in with 2 tablespoons of beetroot powder. Now, many persons have argued before that the sorrel cake, it doesn't need, it doesn't need food coloring or anything like that. This is 100% optional. The beet powder, it doesn't give your sorrel puree or your cake any flavor. It's just to enhance the color. It just makes it really red. I've used beets powder on even meat. It just gives it a nice red color, but it doesn't change the flavor. So this is optional. If you don't have beets powder, I'll link it in the description box. But if you can't get beets powder, guys, you can still use some good old food coloring, or you can leave it out, because as I said, this enhances the color, not the flavor. It doesn't do anything to the flavor. All right, so add that all in. Then we are going to mix everything together. We're going to mix everything up, and at this point you should also turn your stove on to low heat. Ensure that the stove is on at low heat, or the stove is on at low flame. Your pot is over the low heat, and you just mix everything together. At this point, what you're trying to do is you're trying to cook the sorrel just a little. Yes, it will be cooked in the baking process, but I still want to cook it a little right now. You can also taste this. The tanginess has reduced because the sweetness from the fruits and the little sugar that was added, and you are flavoring this, so this will be really, really good. There is no water, but if you were using the dried sorrel, you would have to use a quarter to a half cup of water to get that dried sorrel rehydrated a bit. All right, so just do this for 5 to 10 minutes until the sorrel is nice and cooked, and you can taste it as you go along to see if you want to add a little more cinnamon, if you want to add a little more, sugar or vanilla or some almond extract or things like that, guys. So this is it. It's finished 10 minutes later, and I'm going to leave this to cool down before I continue the process. So about that time, this is nice and cooled. The sorrel is nice and soft too. You can just basically taste some of this. You can eat some of this, right? So now in my blender, I go with the cooled mix of the cool flavored sorrel. Rather, I'm using a really big blender, so I'll be just adding all of that in my blender. Actually, guys, if you reach this step and you're the type of person you want some little chunks of fruits, or you want a little chunks of sorrel in your cake, you don't have to blend it. So you can skip this step if you want little chunks of sorrel or little chunks of fruits in your sorrel cake. For sure, you can do that. So fill my blender all up. Then next, you can't leave out the alcohol because you want this blender to go smoothly. I'll be adding a half cup of rum, Ray and Nephew rum, and a half cup of sweet red wine. So you add that all in, and the next thing you do is just turn your blender on, and you blend this according to the texture that you like. I like mine to be really smooth as it can get. Whenever I'm eating sorrel cake or fruit cake, when I bite in a big piece or a chunk of fruit or a big piece of sorrel, it really brought my vibes, guys. And so I try to blend this out as smooth as possible. And once you blend, then that will basically be your puree. So just blend this really nicely. And again, as it relates to the alcohol, you can add a cup of rum if you want, and a half cup of wine, or just a half cup of rum and a half cup of wine. It depends on the amount of alcohol that you want in your puree, because you could just add some more rum right now or wine if you so desire. But I don't want any more in mine. This is fine. This is perfect. Look at puree, guys. Nice and thick, rich, filled with flavors. Look at this, guys. ROMA'S Kitchen Sorrel Puree. This is the new method for my sorrel puree, guys. This ensures that your sorrel is packed. Your sorrel puree is packed with flavors from the get-go. So let me know in the comment section what you guys think about this video. Remember, you can use dry sorrel, fresh sorrel, any sorrel will work for this. For you to get your lovely sorrel puree like this, to make your sorrel fruit cake looking just like mine, you can check out the sorrel fruit cake video in the description box. Of course, guys, if you like the video, don't forget to give the video a thumbs up, share the video, subscribe to the channel, turn your post notifications on, visit my website at roma'skitchen.net, and look out for other great recipes. Merry Christmas to you and yours when it comes. Until next video.